Magandang gabi. Pa-check na lang po kung may audio tayo. Magandang gabi sa inyo lahat. Ako po si Trixie Cruz-Angeles. Ito po ang Luminous. Magandang gabi kay Ada June Asis, Arkelia, Rock and Roll, Marisol Gloriani, Ezel Kachika Channel, Princess Eureka, Fubu's World FFCIKW, Jean Jagers, Hushi Jr., Far Ida Otsoco, Dolores Dory Aguilar, Roken Cedar, John Antonio Merit Yakap, Sheila Suelto, Gorio. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Okay yung audio? Alright, let's begin. Binabasa ko kasi kanina dun sa ating Facebook yung initial post namin tungkol kay dun sa theory ni former Justice Antonio Carpio. Sumulat kasi si Justice Carpio or former Justice Carpio na posible daw mapadisqualify si BBM bilang kandidato sa upcoming na 2022 elections. Ayon sa kanya, na-convict si BBM in 1992 for non-filing of income tax returns from 1982 to 1985. So, we looked into the case. Ang sabi niya is, initially, hinatulan siya ng Regional Trial Court ng more than 18 months imprisonment plus fine. But nung inappeal niya ito sa Court of Appeals, the sentence was reduced to the payment of a fine only. Okay? After that, although he appealed to the Supreme Court, he later on withdrew that appeal. So now, sabi ni Justice Carpio, may conviction siya and therefore can be disqualified. Pero hindi po yun yung rule. Ang inelaborate naman ni Justice Carpio at ang sabi niya, kapag there are two instances after conviction where a candidate can be disqualified. Ayon sa ating Omnibus Election Code, kapag ikaw ay na-convict and penalized for a crime, when you're convicted for a crime that is penalized for over 18 months, then you are disqualified for 5 years after the sentence has become final. Or if you're convicted, regardless of the penalty, but it's a crime involving moral turpitude, then you will also be disqualified for 5 years. All right. Please take note of the 5-year period dun sa COMELEC. So, number one, BBM has not been convicted of a crime where he is penalized for over 18 months. Yung final decision, that the decision that became final was the decision of the Court of Appeals. Sabi ng Court of Appeals, payment of fine in the amount of about 120,000 pesos. Normally kasi yung fine is about 20,000 pesos for non-filing. All right. Is this a crime involving moral turpitude? No, it is not, because it is simply the filing of what he did not do was not file a return. He paid his taxes kasi as governor of Ilocos Norte, his taxes are automatically deducted from his salary. So, meron kasing subject to withholding tax po kasi yun. So, because he was subject to withholding tax, nabayad na yung taxes na yun. What he probably failed to do was to file the return. Okay? May difference po ang failure to file from tax evasion. Pag tax evasion, hindi ka nagbayad ng buwis. Pero dito, imposibleng hindi siya magbayad ng buwis kasi nga Governor of Ilocos Norte siya at automatic po yung withholding ng kanyang taxes. So, what he failed to do was file a return. Ngayon, dun sa mga sa comment section namin, maraming nagsasabi na, pero in 1985, kung 1985 return yon, in 1986, when he should have filed it, he was already in exile. All right, that is acceptable. However, from the conviction was from failure to file from 1982 to 1985. And therefore, hindi po mag-a-apply yung reason na they were in exile. Okay? It only applies to the 1985 return. Diba? Ayun, sabi ni JG Sav, bali government employee siya, kaya auto ang kaltas. Correct. Okay? So, it's not tax evasion. It's failure to file a return. Ngayon, ang tax evasion is a crime involving moral turpitude. Pero in this case, since it wasn't a failure to pay taxes, it was a failure to file return, hindi po ito kasama sa mga na-decide na ng Korte Suprema na mga crimes involving moral turpitude. Halimbawa, murder, rape, falsification, perjury, libel, kidnapping, and so on are all crimes involving moral turpitude. Hindi po kasama doon ang failure to file a return. Okay? So, bakit inuulit-ulit? Sa Twitter, makikita natin sinasabi, a failure to file is a crime involving moral turpitude because buti sana kung one time lang daw siya nag-fail to file pero ilang beses daw siya failure to file. Therefore, it must be a crime involving moral turpitude. Wait, hold up. In order for it to be a crime involving moral turpitude, dapat merong basehan yan. Is it in the law? No, it's not. Was there any jurisprudence? Again, no, there's not. Kaya kung titignan ninyo yung column kung saan sinulat ni Justice Carpio yung kanyang teorya, nakalagay doon, BBM may be disqualified, and then sinasabi niya, it can be argued that failure to file a return is a crime involving moral turpitude. So why did he say it can be argued? Because it's not in the law. So ang sinasabi niya, kailangan mag-file ng kaso at i-argue na ang failure to file is a crime involving moral turpitude. For now, it is not established as a fact. It is not established as a decision. It is not established as law right now. So may nagtatanong, what was his job in 1982? He was governor of Ilocos Norte. Okay? May nagsasabi he was only 19 or 21 at the time. That's not true. BBM was born on September 13, 1957, which in 1982 would have made him 25 years old. Okay? So, wag magkalat na mga fake news. Bakit hindi na lang siya mag-file? Ma'am, nahatulan na nga siya. Failure to file. Siyempre, pagbalik niya, doon siya kinasuhan. Hindi na siya nakapag-file. O pwede naman siya mag-file ng return after the fact, pero mahahatulan ka pa rin. Kasi hindi ka nga nag-file on time. So even if you file late, meron ka ring parusa yan. So yung parusa niyan could be simply the payment of a fine, yung mga ganon. Yung iba, kapag failure to file tapos may kulang dun sa binayad mo, merong surcharges at saka yung penalties and surcharges. Sabi ni Russell, so ano po, madi-disqualify po ba siya o hindi? Eh ma'am, sinabi na nga namin, hindi. Kasi nga, hindi ito crime involving moral turpitude at hindi po siya nahatulan ng more than 18 months. So, yung sinasabi lang nila ay isang teorya na pino-forward ni Justice Carpio. Uulitin ko po hindi po madi-disqualify si BBM for this. Okay? Bakit kayo worried? Kasi kung binasa niyo ng maigi yung column ni Justice Carpio, ang sinasabi niya, it may be argued. Meaning, kailangan pang i-file yung kaso at mahatulan ng ganon ng hukuman na crime involving moral turpitude ito. Pero pwede pa ba 'yun, 'di ba? Kung may mag-file ng disqualification case kay BBM, i-argue nila 'yon, malabo pong mangyari. Kasi kailangan strict yung ating mga hukuman, lalong-lalo na when it involves disqualification. Kasi ang disqualification is not just the right to run, it is also the right to vote. So, hindi po ganun kadali magpa-disenfranchise ng isang voter. Kaya ang gagawin ng hukuman, they will strictly construe the law. So, malabo yung possibility na mangyari na ma-disqualify si BBM based on this. Okay. Ito, sabi ni Ma'am Marcela, bobo yan si Carpio, obvious na obvious ang mga kilos ng mga dilaw na yan. Well, ako I wouldn't say bobo kasi matalino talaga si Justice Carpio. He was former Justice of the Supreme Court. Pero I think that he was not naman that he wasn't lying. Tama naman siya that it can be argued. But can it be argued successfully? I differ. Kumbaga, iba yung opinion ko. He's free to write his own opinions, pero they have no bearing okay, on any case. Parang ang pinalalabas niya is based on the weight of his experience and expertise in the law, ito yung teorya niya. However, yung teorya niya ay walang sinasandalan na batas. Sinasabi lang niya maaaring gamitin ito bilang argumento kung sakasakali may gustong magpa-disqualify kay BBM. Would it have, mabigat ba ang bearing nito? Malabo po yun. Sabi ni Ma'am Phyllis, di po ba prescribed na ang right ng BIR to assess and collect any tax deficiency? Hindi po, because it is 12 years from the moment of discovery. Ibig sabihin, kung na-discover ngayon lang, then then may 12 years pa po. Ibig sabihin, the prescriptive period is counted from the moment of discovery. Yun nga lang, matagal na po itong discovered. Okay? So, hindi po ang kaso magiging failure to file or magiging tax evasion. The case will be filed on disqualification. Okay? Hindi po yan related na sa taxes, only the disqualification based on his conviction. So, tanggalin yun na sa isip ninyo yung tax evasion na yan. Hindi po tax evasion ito kasi sinasabi ninyo assess and collect any tax deficiency. Wala naman sinasabing tax deficiency si BBM. Okay? Na-resolve na yung kaso na yan noong 2009. Yes, sir. Pero hindi po yun yung punto. It may have been resolved before, pero ang sinasabi ni Justice Carpio, maaari po pa rin i-file yung case for disqualification. Wala, tanggalin nyo nga po. Basihan lang po yung decision. Pero yung application ng decision na yun, pwede pa din po. Sabi ni TP kahapon sa live niya, nasa presyo lang daw po pala ng dalawang tricycle. Exage masyado mga Finklawan. Kaya kala ko naman nasa trillions. Well, yes, that's true. Pero ganito po yon, tax evasion. Kung ang point ninyo ay tax evasion, which there is no case here, okay? Even deficiency, kahit less than 1,000 yan, ay may penalty pa rin. Yun nga lang, pagka mabababa yung amounts, maaari itong i-negotiate. Okay, maaaring pababaan yung presyo. Pero this is not a case of tax evasion. Fine po yan, hindi po yan deficiency. Okay? Sabi ni Sir Bobby, BBM has run in so many positions before but this was not brought up. That only proves that this will not fly. It's just another issue against BBM they want to bring up to gain attention. This is correct. Yun din po ang sinasabi namin dun sa post sa Luminous. Ang sabi namin, since that time, he has run several times for senator and so on. And this has not, succeeded in disqualifying him. Ngayon, a bit of history. Sabi ni Boss Jonathan de la Cruz, because he was there at the time, na talagang tinarget si BBM for disqualification when that case was filed. So the RTC actually imposed a judgment that was not fair. That's why they had to go to the Court of Appeals, and the Court of Appeals applied the law. To our opinion, applied the law correctly. Fine lang po yan. Okay? Guys, huwag po kayo mag-all caps. Gusto lang ng opposition i-confuse mga voters at para hindi iboto si BBM. Nag-create lang ng issue si Carpio. That is possibly even closer. Kasi if they truly believed in the righteousness, in the legal basis of their argument, di final na nila yung kaso na yun. Correct po kayo dyan. Okay. Sabi ni Ma'am Lorna, napanood ko si Kiko Pangilinan na ipapahukay niya daw ang bangkay ni former President Marcos. That's not, ganito po yon. Ang exhumation po requires the consent of the family. Ngayon, anong magiging basihan niya para ipahukay yan? Dahil incorrect na nailibing siya dun sa libingan ng mga bayani? Hindi nga napatunayan ng oposisyon at the time of the burial na hindi siya entitled to that. Ito yung problema dyan. Doon sa rules lang yan ha, nakalagay dun sa rules, basta veterano ka, dati kang nagserbisyo sa Philippine military, maaari kang ilibing dyan sa libingan ng mga bayani. At no time was he removed from the roster, at no time siya tinalikuran ng mga officers or officials ng AFP, and at the time, walang binago dun sa rules. Sana nilagyan nila sa rules with the exception of former dictators, 'di ba? So, hindi. What we're saying is that walang basihan po si Senator Kiko para sabihin na i-exhume yung katawan ni ni former President Marcos. Ang laki ng takot, sabi ni Joseph Ilaga, ng Pinklawans kaya naghahanap sila ng dahilan na ma-disqualify si BBM. Alam kasi nila wala silang panalo, pati na sila Isko, Pacman at Lacson. Sabi ni Renato Raquedan, bakit po hindi na inakyat ni BBM yung tax case niya sa SC? Because it just involved the payment of a fine. Hindi naman siya madi-disqualify. So why bother? 'Di ba? Okay. Sabi ni Raymond Christopher Garcia, anong masasabi ninyo? Guys, I think we really should avoid yung mga anong masasabi ninyo because all you're asking for is an opinion which I don't really give out. We'll make corrections. Ang sinasabi ni Attorney Sereno, si Marcos ang hindi po siya unang nagbenta ng government assets. What he did was he set in the laws and the rules that would have allowed the sale of government assets. So, ang sinasabi ni Attorney Sereno, there was an intent on the part of former President Marcos na magbenta ng government assets because some of the loans were coming due. Pero hindi na po siya inabutan. Nag-1986 na po at hindi na po siya naging presidente after that. So hindi natuloy. Ang tumuloy ng pagbenta ng government assets is the government. So this is now what we're saying. Hindi yung argumento ni Attorney Sereno is hindi naman si Cory ang nag-umpisa ng pagbenta ng government assets, si Marcos din. Well, that's not exactly true kasi nga hindi na nakapagbenta although he put in the legal framework that would have allowed it. Ibig sabihin din, all the subsequent governments after that or administrations after that ay sumunod naman doon sa inumpisahan ni President Marcos. So what does that say about them, 'di ba? Kung ang punto ni Attorney Sereno ay para masiraan si President Marcos for having put in the legal infrastructure to sell government assets, it was the subsequent administrations that actually sold those assets. So kung masama si Marcos because he had the intent to do that, the subsequent administrations could be far worse because not only did they have the intent, they actually sold government assets. Okay? Ano ang basis natin na inaccurate po yung isang batas lang na ipasa ni BBM sa Congress? That's inaccurate talaga because he may have shepherded one law, but he co-authored other laws. Okay? Lahat naman po, kasi collegial po ang Senate at saka ang Kongreso. So, kadalasan, merong isang main author ng batas, tapos kukuha ka ng maraming mga co-authors para yung mga co-authors na ay tutulong dun sa pag-push ng legislation na yun at madadagdagan ang boto at magdidepensa dun sa bill na yon. So, it's not true na sasabihin na isang batas lang ang naipasa ni BBM. He most likely, as most congressmen and senators do, they most likely co-authored other laws. Okay? Hindi ko nakita, but somebody was asking, so where is the money? Hindi ko nakita yung ano na yan. What money are you referring to? Okay. Thank you kay Ernie Campita para sa super sticker. Earlier on, nagpadala din ng super chat natin. Sorry, hindi ko nabanggit kaagad. Pakiulit lang po kung sino yung nagpadala kanina sa super chat. Hindi ko po nabanggit. Ito, Marvel Ragot says, do you think the PRR should have yearly or quarterly report to close or address spending company or civilian with tax for payment? Bakit ngayon lang lumabas? Natutulog ba sila? What are you talking about? Uh, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Hindi po maliwanag. Please clarify your question. Thank you kay Alpha Lohato for your, for your super sticker. Eto, sabi ni Roldan Ranoco, si Erap nga pinayagang tumakbo uli sa pagkapangulo noong 2010. Eh, convicted siya sa plunder at ngayon si BBM ma-disqualify. Wait. Those are not the same cases. Si Erap, na-convict siya for plunder but he was pardoned. Kapag may pardon ka, that erases everything, all of the effects of your conviction. So kung may perpetual disqualification ka, marireinstate ka to your civil uh, to your political status, no? Pwede kang ma-erase yung disqualification mo. Okay? So, it erases everything, including your record, all of that. So, hindi po sila pareho. BBM did not get a pardon. Pero he will not be disqualified, or it's not likely that he will be disqualified based on a conviction for failure to file a return. Sabi ni Ma'am Felicitas Gutierrez, nandito sa Manila si Mayor Inday, magsa-substitute na kaya siya? Alam nyo, mahirap po basahin si Mayor Inday. Intayin na lang po natin. Sabi ni Ma'am Ninita Ava, ay, Ma'am, thank you for your super sticker. Andrew Matre is asking the difference between tax evasion and failure to file return. I thought I did. Okay, ulitin po natin. Ang filing ng return, yun yung mag-fill up ka ng tax return, i-declare mo yung income mo, tsaka yung taxes mo, and so on. Tapos, normally, pag nag-file ka ng return, nagbabayad ka rin kung meron kang tax due. Okay. Minsan, wala kang tax due kasi na-withhold na lahat. Minsan, dahil sobra yung binayad mo the previous year, meron kang tax credits, wala kang babayaran. Pero kailangan mo pa rin i-file yung return. I-declare mo yung income mo every year. Kahit hindi ka kahit mas mababa yung required na, kunwari, hindi ka nga kailangan magbayad ng tax dahil na-withhold na lahat, then you don't have to pay taxes but you still have to file your return. Okay? Sabi ni Ma'am Josephine, baka hinahanap po yung pera na pinagbilhan ng mga assets like buildings sa New York and ng Cory government. Ganito po kasi yon. Ayon dun sa PCGG law, pag nag-recover ng assets at saka usually ibebenta ito to fund the agrarian reform program. Sabi ni Ma'am Karen, kung retired Associate Justice ng Supreme Court to si Carpio, bakit bulag siya sa reasoning na settled na naman pala yan? Nagbayad na ng fines at di mabigat na kaso yan, classified to be na madi-disqualify. Fight talaga si BBM. Huwes ba talaga to ng Supreme Court? Mas magaling pa kayo magpaunawa sa nilalaman ng batas. Well, I think that he was merely stating an opinion. And sometimes, yung mga opinions natin are based on what we want to happen rather than what is in the facts itself. Okay? Eto, sabi ni Arafat Pukan dun sa ating super chat, I like how the Dilawan operates. If they can't beat it, they will have him disqualified. As if naman kay Lenny mapupunta yung boto ni BBM. Good point. Okay, good point. Tama po yun. Eto, thank you kay Buboy Rodriguez. He's always watching from Zurich, Switzerland. Justice for the Marcoses. On another topic, natatawa lang ako sa recent statement ng isang cardinal na nagsasabing okay lang daw tumanggap ng pera pero wag lang daw iboto yung nasa loob mo. In accordance sa recent pronouncement ni Lenny, talagang bistado na po that they're ready to catch bullets for Lugao. Stay safe po. Well, I disagree that, well, a lot of people have been saying that before, but those people were not lawyers or were not sitting vice presidents. So, thank you kay Six Angus Belly. gaming channel for your super sticker. Kahit naman nagbayad si BBM, pero ang tanong, paano na lang ang moral niya? What do you mean ang moral niya? Are you saying moral with an E or morals with an E? Excuse me po. So yung sinasabi ninyo, tingin ninyo may moral turpitude ito. A failure to file a return po ito. Ngayon, hindi po tayo yung nagsasabi ng moral-noral na yan. Yung Supreme Court po ang magsasabi if it is a crime involving moral turpitude. And tignan nyo naman kung ano yung mga kaso na involving moral turpitude. Murder, rape, perjury, falsification, libel. It involves dishonesty. Yung failure to file a return might not actually involve dishonesty kasi nga na-withhold na po yung taxes niya. 'Di ba? So ano po yung sinasabi ninyong immoral tungkol dun sa failure to file? And please take note na ang sinasabi ng batas ay failure to file, not intentional non-filing, 'di ba? Wala bang gagawin ng IBP, sabi ni Fascinating Pet Facts, tungkol sa sinabi ni Lenny na alam naman na lahat na pwedeng maging grounds for disbarment o suspension yung ginagawa niya. Ganito po yun. Kung sa tingin natin it would result in her suspension, why is nobody filing? Kayo, kung naniniwala kayo na dapat masuspend siya o madisbar siya dun sa sinabi niya, aba, ariba na, file na tayo ng kaso. Anybody can file that, by the way. Sabi ni The Apricot, failure to file normal lang lalo pag nasa abroad ka. Opo, pero he didn't go abroad until 1986, pero yung failure to file was from 1982 to 1985. Tingin ko nakaligtaan lang talaga yan. Maybe somebody was tasked to file for him tapos hindi po nagawa. Marami pong beses nangyayari na yan. Happy ni Bench McNabs, I'm back. Good morning, and to you all, I'm glad for almost a month unable to watch any of your live. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, I'm glad you're back. Lynn Togado says, ikaw ang gusto namin na maging isa sa COMELEC commissioners kasi magkaroon ng 3 bakanting position po. Mag-shoutout kami sa social media for you to be considered. I'm not sure if it would be a good fit for me. So, hindi pa kayo natutuwa na nandito tayo sa social media? Ako, kaya ako dito. Umpisahan nyo ang pag-file against Lenny, sabi ni Shanghai Nerland. Sabi ni Renskill, ano pong sa inyo about dun sa PCGG na hindi original pinakita kaya sila natalo sa isang kaso kasi hindi tinatanggap ng kolte photocopies lang. Opo, hindi po bago yung ganyang rule. Sa ating rules of evidence, hindi po talaga dapat kung merong dokumento na may bearing dun sa hukuman, kailangan po original. Or kailangan mapatunayan kung bakit hindi maipipresenta yung original. So halimbawa, yung original ay nandun sa custody ng kalaban. O halimbawa, etong si PCGG, nagpresenta ng Xerox copies ng, let's say, ng isang contract. Okay? Sabihin, Xerox lang mapipresenta namin kasi yung original nandun sa parties. Yung isang party patay na, yung isang party kalaban. So, kailangan matanggap na lang yung original. Okay? Other times, halimbawa, nasira na yung original at hindi ito ma-reconstitute. So, Xerox copy lang. So, yun yung mga exceptions. So, unfortunately, dun sa hukuman, sa Sandigan Bayan, nagpresenta po ang PCGG ng photocopy ng isang dokumento pero hindi nila binigay, wala silang naibigay na exempting circumstance na dahilan kung bakit dapat tanggapin ng hukuman yung Xerox copy. Okay. Hindi nila napatunayan na dapat katanggap-tanggap ang Xerox copy. Matagal na po yung rule na yan. This is not the only case na ginamit yan. Sabi ni Isa, hi, good evening po. Sabi niya, ask ko lang kung tatakbo po ba si Tatay Digong as senator. Thank you. Ako, I wish. I would love to see him as Senate President. Pero wala pa po tayong balita tungkol doon. Sabi ni Cherry Valera, Salamat for your explanations. At least naintindihan namin. Sana maraming makapanood nito para maliwanagan. Kung kay Carpio lang kasi source, maraming malilito kasi marami din hindi nakakaintindi ng batas. Ayun nga, that's why we take it upon ourselves to explain. Sabi ni Ma'am Shai Meira, thank you for letting us know about what happens to government properties and why the Cory government was able to do that. It would have been to our country's benefit pa rin pala, minalas lang tayo dahil sa yellow government's greed. Posible din. Ma'am, si Atty. Gadon filed a case to disqualify VP Lenny on the statement of vote buying and the COMELEC commissioner disagrees with her statement. Bakit hindi yan binibigyan ng atensyon? I haven't heard about it yet. I'll talk to Atty. Gadon kung meron. I'll check dun sa mga kung meron siyang press statement about that. Sabi ni June, Cesar Maambong, dapat si Dilima at Villanes ang ma-disqualify at hindi na pwedeng tumakbo habang buhay. Bakit hindi gawin ng COMELEC yan? Katulad ng sinabi ko, ang rule po kasi ay kapag convicted ka of a crime punishable by more than 18 months or convicted ka of a crime involving moral turpitude. Now, si Trillanes has been convicted of a crime involving moral turpitude. Libel po yan. Hindi siya na-impose ng penalty kasi payment of a fine lang yan. So, similar dun sa kay BBM. Ang difference is, nakatulan na ng Korte Suprema na ang libel ay isang crime involving moral turpitude. That is why Sonny Trillanes appealed his case. Okay? Kapag nag-appeal ka ng kaso, hindi po nagiging final yan. At ang requirement po ng COMELEC is that you must be convicted of a crime involving moral turpitude. Yung conviction na yon must be by final judgment. Ibig sabihin, naging penal na. Hindi po nagiging final yan kapag ito ay on appeal. Okay? Kay Delima naman, hindi pa po siya nahahatulan. Ongoing pa po yung mga kaso. 3 dati yung kaso niya, yung isa na dismiss na. So, nagpipresenta pa lang sila ng ebidensya for the defense, so hindi pa po siya convicted at all. So, huwag niyong i-blame yung COMELEC for that. Okay? Marami po kasing nag-aakala na convicted na si Madam Laila. Ayun nga po yung sinasabi natin, hindi pa po. Sabi ni Joy, sana worth it yung nagbabayad po sa iyo, attorney ng YouTube and FB. Worth it po kasi yung content no. Well, thank you for the compliment. But I don't know, what do you mean by worth it? If you mean by worth it, nababayaran yung oras namin ni Attorney Ahmed in the same way that you would be paid by as lawyers, yung per hour, hindi naman po. So, kaya nagpapasalamat kami sa lahat ng nagbibigay. It offsets some of the costs, but it doesn't necessarily pay for the time, di ba? But it's okay. Yan nga po yung sinasabi natin that ito na po ay kawang gawa. It's time for real change for our country, sabi ni Frosty. Ipaglaban natin ang isang tao, hindi sa idolism, kundi labanan ng prinsipyo. We have to mature our minds. And that's another good point. Sabi ni Xavier Lost, good evening. Grabe po, tinake down po nila petition natin against Maria Ressa. Oh, and I agree with the sentiments of everybody here na grabe din talaga, di ba? Sabi nga ni Sas, Umidyar is one of the contributors of change.org. So we really should stop putting our faith in organizations that have no intention talaga of giving us, empowering us. The only people who can really empower us is ourselves. Diba? Sabi ni Atoy Palatan, may HQ po si Mayor Sara sa Quezon City na daanan po namin ng Huwebes ng madaling araw. Are you sure that's not one of the headquarters of yung mga Ran Sara Ran or Inday Sara for President movement? Kasi yung Inday Sara for President movement ay isa sa mga grupo naghihikayat na tumakbo si Mayora. We will know if she's going to be a candidate when she files, di ba? If she files. Sabi ni Richelieu Rojas, mukhang magkakatotoo ang wish ni Atty. Trixie na tumakbong senador si PRRD. Well, you heard it here first, di ba? Maganda sana if PRRD runs, tapos siya po ang Senate President. Ganda yan. Ito, isn't it ironic if BBM wins and pa-investigate niya sino ang behind the death of Ninoy, bagay na hindi ginawa ng mag-ina sa panahon na naluklok sila bilang Pangulo? Hindi kaya sa circle din nila may gawa? Well, I think that any speculation would be valid dahil hindi nga at least sa taong bayan, hindi feeling closed yung case. Um, I don't know if BBM will do that, investigate the death of Ninoy because sasabihin ng kabilang panig na ay political 'yan. At kahit ano maging resulta diyan ay baka ipagdiinan pa yung mga political opponents niya. So that's a political hot potato. Medyo mahirap 'yan kung si BBM ang magpabukas niyan. Okay? Ah, Sabi ni Ma'am Cecilia Chongson, "Good evening, late ko nakita itong live mo kaya watch pa rin ako ng replay." Yerd Teglison says, "Good evening, ask lang na confirmed na ba si Mayor Sara tatakbo sa VP kasi may lumalabas sa FB na siya ay tatakbo sa VP. Thanks, ma'am. We will know for sure when she files her certificate of candidacy. Right now, what we're doing is we're speculating based on something she allegedly said. We don't know the context of what she said, the full context of what she said, and she is not making announcements. Nga, ganito si Mayor Sara. If she was running, she would be forthright about it and would issue a statement. Okay? So, alam ko na excite tayong lahat, kahit ako, nagpipigil ako, pero I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. She will tell us if she's running. Yun lang, yun po ang tiwala ko sa kanya is that she will not allow us to simply speculate on it. And if she doesn't make a statement, then I'm willing to wait naman for November 15, the last day of filing for substitutions to be included in the ballot. Okay? Mali ang sabihin na it's time for real change in our country. Dapat continuity of genuine change kasi nasimulan na noong 2016. Sabi ni Jap Vivas, oops, sorry. Ay, nawala. Nasaan yan? Sorry. Bakit nawala? Ayan. Sabi ni Jap Viva, sa pagkaalam po ba ninyo, gaano pa po ba karami ang mga pending cases ng mga Marcoses dito sa Pinas? Para lang po sa kaalaman namin, sana matapos ng lahat. Well, the 7 cases of Mrs. Marcos that were all, 7 cases allegedly of corruption where she was convicted is now with the higher court on appeal. So that's one. The second one was the Ferdinand and Imelda Marcos case, which I understand also convicted either Ferdinand Marcos or Mrs. Marcos, which I understand Mrs. Marcos would be appealing. So yung mga yon. I think only about 2 cases left na live cases. Di kami papayag na mag-VP Pangulo po gusto. Ano yan? Sino ba to si Mayor Inday? Well, for me, it's whatever she wants to run for. Ma'am Anika says, grabe talaga yung politics dito sa Pilipinas. No? Kakaiba to the point na tayo mga mamamayan mismo are divided by colors. Wala nang pagkakaisa, lahat politicized. Ganito po kasi yun. We don't really expect that we will always be united. What we hope to be united is against the foreign common enemy. Now, locally, gano'n naman po talaga ang politika. Meron ka talagang kalaban. Meron talaga, ano yung sinasabi ni BBM? Imposible na walang mag-disagree sa'yo. Di ba? When you're in politics, that's a given that people will disagree. So I don't think that we should beat ourselves up. Parang sasabihin na naman natin na may magsasabi na naman dyan na only in the Philippines, tayo lang yung ganito. Grabe, ang politicize natin. Chuchu. Do we really have to see that as a bad thing? Buti nga involved tayo sa gobyerno natin. Although many other countries, mas nagko-concentrate sila on businesses and nakikialam lang sila dun sa politika because it involves their rights. Sa atin kasi it's almost like entertainment. Diba? Pag naging president pa si BBM, pwede pa ba mabalik sa government ang Meralco at Nawasa? Actually, pwede naman yan at any time. Basta, ganito po yun. If these are privately owned concessions, Pwede naman yan kunin ng gobyerno under eminent domain, provided na babayaran sila, 'di ba? May just compensation. So, 'yun ang kailangan. Sabi ni Joseph Ilaga, attorney, sana mag-guest niyo si Miss Rita Gadi o kaya mag-tandem kayo. Marami siyang alam tungkol sa mga Marcoses at least hanggang 2022 elections. Sir Joseph, unang-una, I think it is impolite to ask you know, us to guest somebody from another show. Okay? Although, we're not averse naman to doing it. Number two, may resource person din kami with personal knowledge as well in the form of Boss Jonathan De La Cruz. Diba? So, but this is not to say na hindi kami naniniwala or dinidiscredit namin si Ma'am Rita. I've in fact watched it, but um, ewan ko ha, I think that my co-hosts, if they saw the value in it, they would ask, di ba? Bihirang-bihira po ang nag-invite kami ng guests. Bihira po talaga. Because mostly we do analysis. Ah, Eto, sabi ni Del, di ba si Mayor Sara is not in favor of federalism but BBM is running for Partido Federal? May effect kaya ito sa pagtandem nila ni Sara? Ganito, in theory, everybody likes the idea of federalism. But the devil is in the details. Okay? So, tingnan niyo si President Duterte. He tried, but it is difficult to get people to accept such a radical change. So, if we truly believe in federalism, we'll have to implement it in increments and be able to convince the majority of our people to accept it. So I think that both, in theory, both Mayor Sara and BBM believe in a federalist form of government, but the ability to do it in one fell swoop, like what we tried to do under the Duterte administration, has proven difficult, if not improbable. So we need a new strategy to getting it back in place, to getting it back on track. Gary Cadano says, pag nanalo si BBM, itutuloy nga niya ba ang naudlot na plan ni late President Marcos, especially yung Bataan Nuclear Power Plant? Posible pa bang maibukas yun? Unang-una, outdated na po ang technology ng Bataan Nuclear Power Plant. Pangalawa, medyo cannibalized na po. Pangatlo, napag-aralan na po yan and hindi na po siya talaga feasible. In fact, yung ibang mga assets ay na-dispose na din po. So, but nasa plataforma po ni BBM ang alternative forms of energy. So, if he will still continue to explore nuclear energy, I'm sure he will also explore other forms of energy. This will be part of this is part of his vision. So, maliwanag yan dun sa interview namin sa kanya. Sabi ni Ian, si BBM naglatag na ng plataforma para sa bansa habang ang iba bakbak sa school course niya, sa tax case niya. Ano pa kaya next? Lalo niyo lang pinapasikat talaga siya bashers. Tama naman. Thank you kay Pinky Kikay for your super sticker. Teka, hindi ko ito mahanap para I can put you on the screen. Ayun. Thank you for your super sticker, Miss Pinky Kikay. Next. Kaya siguro nagiging parang entertainment ng politics sa Pilipinas kasi din sa kind of media meron tayo. Showbiz na showbiz yung mga questions being asked of our politicians. On that, I truly agree. Tama kayo dyan. Sabi ni Roldan Dan Ranoco, meron na tayong template for parliamentary, yung Bangsamoro, but we do not yet have the track record long enough to prove it, that it is working. Ngayon, if you're convinced of that, okay, but your job now would be to convince other people. And please don't try to convince people who are not also ready to be convinced by beating them over the head. Okay? There are many people I know who would have, in theory, supported it, but were browbeaten by certain groups pushing for this. This is not the way to go. If people are not yet ready, I don't think that you should push them. Seriously. Vicente Fernandez says, Lenny seems to contradict herself at every turn. Baba sa baba, wala tayo, wala sila kayo. Kayo yon. I have three daughters, lahat sila girls. Guys, let's separate fact from fiction. I don't think she really said I have three daughters, lahat sila girls. Seriously, guys, wag na natin ulit-ulitin yan. Yung Lenny Mathias, well, that one, that was on video. Even she's confused. Sabi ni Crampol, sino po bang vice president na iboboto ninyo? Bakit? May final list na ba? Di pa nga naglalabas eh. Bakit ako mamimili ng hindi final yung listahan? Vincent Paul Amper says, grabe kalye survey, pati sa Cebu, number one si BBM. At kahit saan lugar, pwede pa ito madaya ng Pulse Asia at SWS, may iba result nila sa kalye survey. Thank you kay Janet Mayoho for your super sticker. Sabi ni Cesar Orpilla, nakatikim na po ba kayo ng Chocodas Chocolate, Macadamia or almonds from Harrods? Ang layo ng tanong ko. Hindi pa po. Pero I entertain chocolate questions. Especially kung magpapadala kayo. Ito. Sana po patawa na rin po ng tax ang church. Well, in order to do that, you have to change the provisions in the Constitution. Part of the freedom of religion is also not taxing them. Diba? This is very confidential, sabi ni concerned citizen. Needs to be investigated. The former textbook scams queen, Mary Ann Maslog, is not dead. She has now a new identity with the name of Dr. Jessica Francisco in Mandaue City, Cebu. Well, that's interesting. Let's see what the cops have to say about that. Inihabla na po ba ni File doon si Senator Ping Lacson about sa semento thing? Sinabi din po kasi ni Ping nakasuhan na lang siya ni File doon. I have no knowledge of this, but I understand that they investigated it. Okay. Ian Salvador says, kahit sa ang survey po, number one, I assume si BBM. Ha ha ha. Lenny, nasa pinakababa. Okay. Good PM Sutil, sabi ni Rain Pinebook. Lalo na sa crush ko. Ala pa pong barya. San tayo squat if Reza and pedophiles will repeat the censorship like US 2020? Pinks should be thankful BBM is not vengeful but malas for loyalista. Si Gadon. May point naman. Ito, ano po bang status ng conviction ni Maria Ressa? Bakit hindi pa talaga siya nakukulong? May tax evasion din po ba siya, di ba? Hindi pa po tapos yung tax evasion case. Yung libel case po, convicted siya but she has appealed it. Therefore, hindi pa po siya makukulong because she probably either filed bail pending appeal or fine lang po ang pinapataw sa kanya. But I understand, well, if it's not fine, well, then hindi pa talaga kasi final because she appealed it. So, guys, ulit-ulitin ko to. When a case is on appeal, it's not final. Alright? Therefore, hindi pa po sila makulong. Especially like si Mrs. Marcos, she filed for bail pending appeal. Okay? Ganon din. If I'm not mistaken, ganon din si Maria Ressa. Ano po masasabi niyo about sa minimum wage sa Pilipinas? Parang di yata na pagtutuunan ng pansin ng ating mga mambabatas. Kasi po, ang minimum wage is set by the wage board, hindi po by the lawmakers. Sakura Marites says, musta naman po yung utang ni Gordon? Parang di naman pansin ni Gordon. Sino pa ba dapat maningil kay Gordon? Well, I understand that the president has asked the Solgen to look into it. Totoo po bang hindi pa nai-implement yung last will and testament ni F.E. Marcos? Gagawan po kaya ni BBM ng way na ma-implement yon? Okay. I keep repeating this. If there is a will, it has to be probated. If there is a will and it was not given to the probate court right away, there will be penalties and the evidentiary value of the will goes down the longer it has not been set for probate. Okay? Probate means that the will is proven in court. not just NPC and so on. So without a probate of an alleged will, and without a confirmation from the children, the existence of that will is speculation. Okay? Ngayon, ang daming nagsasabi, sinabi daw ito in a TV program, sinabi daw to ni Mrs. Marcos, and so on. In law, if there is a will, it must be probated. If there is no probate, that will does not exist. Okay? Or will have no effect. So, wag niyong paulit-ulit po tatanungin to because I will answer according to the law. Kung sinasabi ninyo, existent yung will na yan, patunayan in probate court for it to actually transfer any property. Joel Bunag says, Socrates' syllogism is totally illogical and immoral. I guess he should be ashamed on leading the Catholic Church. Oh, or if not, the Pope will excommunicate you. Oh, okay. Brandon GRN, thank you very much for your super sticker. All right. Uh, Dennis Gabaca says, di kami naniniwala sa survey. Ang paniniwalaan namin yung ground. Okay. Thank you kay Hali. Hali's Grom sa super sticker niya. Let me see. What else did I miss? Haymaker Boxing Studio says, may nabasa po akong 2003 Supreme Court draft conviction sa mga Marcoses. So final na yon at corrupt talaga ang mga Marcoses. Like I said, Supreme Court draft conviction. Are you sure? Sino ang nahatulan? Ferdinand Marcos, Imelda Marcos. May MR ba? So, kung meron kayong kanababasa na ganyan, please send me the link. Okay? It should be it should be a reported case. As far as I know, wala pa po silang final convictions. Bakit naniniwala yung mga judges ng, sabi ni Clyde, ng Nobel Prize kay Maria Ressa? Di ba sila nag-research din to verify? Probably it's because they are, how do you call this? I don't think that any awards giving body is really totally objective. So, yan. Ay, si Kits nagpadala ng super sticker. Thank you, Kits. Bakit? I'm shocked. Cor Edragal says, posibleng humina ang kandidatura ni BBM kung wala siyang makinarya. Wala bang malaking party like Lakas o Nationalista Party na susuporta sa kandidatura ni BBM? Ha? Well, there's Hugpong. There's Partido Federal. There is KBL. So, I think the faith and trust in the machinery might be a little overblown kasi tumakbo na nga siya ng senador noon at nanalo and that's a national machinery. Diba? Thank you kay Clevtan. Sabi niya sa Iloilo, ay, nawala. Bakit nawala? Teka, hanapin ko yon. Clevtan, nawala yung iyong ano? Sa super chat mo. Ito, kay Francis Cayetano, sabi ni Lenny kung magkakadebate, sagutan lang daw. Okay, math problem na lang with complete solution. Prove 40 times 4, 1,600 from Lenny's press con in 2019. Ito, sabi ni Clevtan, sa Iloilo ka, Ellie, parang mga 600, 500, 600 na bikers, lahat sila nakabike. Lenny talking about the motorcade. Well, yeah, I heard that. Totoo yung last will na yan. Otherwise, US would not do anything against the Marcoses to return to Malacanang. Seriously? Yan po yung reasoning ninyo? How are those two related? Nasaan yung nexus? Kailangan may logical progression yung conclusion ninyo. O there is a will and therefore, di ba? And therefore US. So, kailangan i-connect natin yun. Ah, Ivan Enriquez says, ano po masasabi niyo sa mga lawyers supporting Madam after she stated na okay lang daw tanggapin ng pera for vote buying? Well, lawyers can support anybody they want. It's part of their free speech and the exercise of their political freedoms. So I disagree with them, but they're free to do that. Sabi ni Ian, buti engaged na si Chris at hindi siya makasubstitute sa Liberal Party para sumama kay Mama Lenny nila. Rapelo Mark says, hala, mga nagko-comment at nababasa ni ate ay puro negative kay Marcos. Ano? Tapos hindi namin sinasagot, ganun ba? Ano yung, anong comment yan? Digna Riaño Gutierrez says, lalabas si Francis Leo Marcos para sa Philippines will rise again. Okay? Pansin ko lang, face saving at damage control ang mga trad media sa pagkakalat ni Mama Lenny nyo sa Zoom interview. Di ba ang daming nagkalat na explanation sa media kaso hindi tayo tabogo eh. Okay, Haymaker Boxing Studios, I will have a look at that draft conviction. Wait and see tayo sa November 15 para sa senatorial slate. Let me see that. GR 152154. Sige, tingnan natin right now. GR 152154. Release. Okay, tingnan natin. Sandigan Bayan. Tapos, Supreme Court. Oh. This is a civil case. Why are you saying that it's a conviction? There's no conviction in civil cases. Ito yung sinasabi ni Attorney Melu. Republic versus forfeiture ito, special rule, forfeiture case ito. Ano ba kayo? That's not a conviction. That's a forfeiture case. It only indicates it's only about, okay, what is forfeiture? When you're, in the case of public officials, whose income is set by law, di ba? Kasi government official ka. Tapos your lifestyle and your assets are beyond that which you could have earned during your stint as a government official, then the excess will be forfeited if a forfeiture case has been filed against you. A forfeiture case is not a criminal case. The Marcoses were not convicted under this case. My goodness. Okay, I'm irritated because don't say things that don't exist, are not stated in the law or the jurisprudence. That's it's not it's ito si Kitso, we love you, attorney from Taco Heads. Nagiinuman ba kayo ngayon, Taco Heads, ha? Hindi na naman kayo nagyaya. All right. Now, what's the difference between a civil case and a criminal case? Ang criminal case po may kulong. Ang civil case po, you're usually talking about property or and usually you're talking about money like damages. Yan. So, in a forfeiture case nga, meron tayo pong batas na yun nga, kung pag nag-exceed yung assets and your property beyond that which you could have earned as a government official, that will be forfeited in favor of the government. Okay? Does this say that these assets were illegally acquired? No, because if illegally acquired, that would be a criminal case. Now, they can also say that, well, possibly illicit, Therefore, it's only a criminal case kasi, a civil case kasi nga we're just talking about the excess. Okay? Bakit yung senatorial lineup ni fake VP Lenny puro may bad records tapos sasabihin nilang disente sila ay si De Lima drug peddler. Not yet convicted, guys. Si Binay corrupt. Also not yet convicted. Si Hontiveros NPA enabler. Well, yon objectively speaking, kitang-kita. Okay. Then si Trillanes, kudeta at may salang treason. Wala po siyang treason case, wag po tayo mag-imbento. Ang treason po nangyayari lang during wartime. Yung kudeta po niya ay na-amnesty po sila, so na-erase din po lahat ng effects nun. Nakakatawa talaga sila at ang kakapal ng mukha, lalo na si fake VP. Okay. Buti na clarify ni Attorney Trixie. Thank you very much. God bless you po. Actually, yun na nga eh. There's no, I will stand again on what I had previously said. Wala pong conviction yung mga Marcoses. Now, there are civil suits and some of them have won, but many of them have won because they were not participating in it. So like yung sa US, hindi sila nag-participate. Diba? With the exception of dun sa racketeering case ni Mrs. Marcos, which she was acquitted. Where she was acquitted. So, paano yun? Ronald Darwan, last na to. Gusto ko po maliwanagan tungkol sa Swiss bank account issue ng mga Marcos, lalo na doon sa ibinigay ng Switzerland dahil nakulitan sila hindi dahil sa ill-gotten yon. Yun nga, ang sinasabi ng Swiss court is that noong una, pinapapatunay nila na, o sige, bibigay namin sa inyo pag napatunayan ninyo na ill-gotten yon. Hindi nila magawa in the Swiss courts. So, nainis ang Switzerland, they tossed it back dito sa Pilipinas. Sabi, ito yung pera, kayo ang mag-litigate niyan, kayo ang mag-decide kung ill-gotten yan. Okay? So, yun po yung ano doon. Now, without the Marcoses participating, ano sa tingin yung magiging outcome? Okay, last two questions. The thing is, PRR delayed the foundation that opened the eyes of people, the very reason why the majority is choosing a brand of government that is not associated with the Dilawans. They had their chance pero walang nangyari. So kami na yung mga hampas lupa pero marami kami at nagkakaisa. Di katulad sa kanila kakarampot na lang naghahatian pa. Sabi ni Kakay, no offense po kay Mama Len. Nagtataka lang po ako kasi 'di ba attorney din po siya. Bakit the way po siya magsalita sobrang layo ng difference sa inyo at sa iba pang mga attorney. Siguro naman po hindi lang ako yung nagtataka. Ah, hindi ko po alam. I think that like with any other person, there are good lawyers, there are bad lawyers, there are mediocre lawyers, there are ultra brilliant lawyers, and so on. Diba? So, iba-iba din po. Sabi ni LMX, that's why I'm in favor of separation of church and state. Naalala ko si Padre Damaso sa mga katulad nila. Well, to be fair, the church is separate from the state, except that the priests seem to forget that sometimes. Now, there are times na medyo nagkakamali din yung gobyerno, like in some cases, merong mga government offices na may mga altar, may mga masses, and so on. As long as hindi sa pilitan, pwede na rin. Sabi ni Jerby Castro Godinez, can a case be both civil and criminal or not po? No. But in criminal cases, when you file a criminal case, the civil case is deemed incorporated in that unless you separate the civil case from the criminal case. Now, some civil cases were filed ahead without a criminal case attached to it. So, pwede din po yun. The same acts can lead to both criminal and civil liabilities. Si Iling NH says, bilang abogado, may katotohanan ba si Marcos ay may client ng Italiano and so on, and so on. I have no evidence of that. Okay, so I cannot say either way. Manny Alberto says, sana matakal niyo yung malampay at involvement ni Dennis Uy. Natakal na po namin sa karambola, babalikan niyo na lang po. Ano po ang relasyon ni VP Lenny at ni Kuya Cesar? Who's Kuya Cesar? Kasi po pareho silang mabagal magsalita. I don't think Lenny speaks slowly. I think she thinks slowly, not talk slowly. What can you envision for Pinas without BBM or Sarah? Oh my gosh. I worry. I worry a lot. I worry that a lot of what the president has put in place might either degrade from lack of attention or not be pursued as diligently as it has, like build, universal health care, cleaning up of PhilHealth, um, free tertiary education, the improvement of the Department of Education and of the public school systems, the improvement of all traffic systems, trains, the new airport in Bulacan and so on. So I worry. I worry about the programs and projects that have already begun. All right. Last, sabi ni Sir Aris, sa palagay po ba ninyo malakas po ang kaso ng disqualification kay BBM? Hindi po. Diniscuss na po natin. It's not likely at all. Okay? Thank you very much, okay? Bogs Taroha for your super sticker. Maraming salamat po. And ito, sabi ni, sino ba yung nagsabi na na di daw siya extraordinary? Si Edwin ba yun? Okay. Ito, sabi ni Ma'am Andrea Agortan, thank you for always mentioning about education during your program po. Yes. Kumbaga, we really have to recognize always our public school teachers, the Department of Education, because I have seen, nararamdaman naman po yung improvements. But like anything, it's not perfect. We have not finished. There's so much work to do. But yes, oh my gosh, the Department of Education, shout out sa inyong lahat. Public school teachers, oh my gosh, shout out sa inyong lahat. Eto, na-feel ko yung reaction mo sabi ni Karen Mata about dun sa question dun sa pagkakaiba-iba ng pagka-abogado kay Lenny. Nakakabobo naman kasi mga lumalabas sa bunganga niya. Pero in fairness sa mga walang kwentang pinagsasabi niya, nagka-interest ang karamihan na alamin lalo ang tama. Good evening sa lahat. I think that's a very good way to end the evening. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat sa pagsubaybay dito, sa lahat ng nagpadala sa super chat at super stickers natin. Maraming salamat din for all of the interesting questions. Please, let's all keep our comments as factual as possible, especially when we're online. Diba? Let's argue sensibly or don't argue at all when pag yung kausap natin have really no intention of being persuaded. Wag natin pag-aksayan ng panahon. Maganda yung but let's discuss on things that might not be, how do we call this, that are not clear. We can clarify them as much as possible or to the best of our abilities. And so, thank you very much. Tignan natin kung kaya natin mag-sutil Sunday. Pero maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga sutil na nandito ngayong gabi. There was over 4,000 of you on the live views, both on Facebook, combined Facebook and YouTube combined. Maraming salamat po. Don't forget to like and share. Para dun sa followers ng Luminous, please check your status kung naka-follow pa rin kayo. Kung hindi pa po kayo naka-follow, follow na po. At saka wag po kakalimutan mag-subscribe sa ating YouTube. Magandang gabi. Have a great weekend, everybody.